My name is James Bennett, and I'm going to be critically analysing a variety of media outputs of the European Tour. After a short introduction of the European Tour and its history, this video will then look to fully address the brief by studying the European Tour's general media strategy as a whole, with an overview of its activity before taking a much closer and more critical look at two particular social media platforms in Instagram and Facebook. This analysis will be followed by recommendations to aid the European Tour's media strategy. These recommendations will look to improve their adherence with the consumer use and gratifications theory, as well as Heinlein's social media checklist, which will all be introduced in the critical section of this video. The European Tour was formed in 1972 and is one of the 7 major professional men's tours in the world of golf. The tour hosts a grand total of 48 weekly tournaments a season across 29 different countries worldwide. During its existence, it has seen 28 of its registered players win a total of 54 combined major titles, and it has also seen 11 of its members obtain world number 1 status, which is a superb achievement, proving its place amongst professional golf's elite. The European Tour is active daily across most of its mainstream social media platforms. This includes Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and YouTube, with details all listed here. We then move on to the TV coverage. In terms of the UK, the European Tour are heavily supported by the super media company of Sky Sports, with Sky recently signing a 4-year deal to show at least 35 tournaments a season in the UK, including 3 of the 4 majors. The rest of Europe's coverage is covered by the media giant Discovery, who own Eurosport and various other channels across the continent. But the European Tour do not stop there, as they have also commissioned rights to the Golf Channel to show live coverage and highlights of their events in the USA and several other countries across the Atlantic. EuropeanTour.com hosts a variety of content, from up-to-date leaderboards to all of the latest news for fans to keep fully up to date with the tour's goings-on. As well as this, it also has dedicated ticket and merchandise pages, history and information pages, individual player statistic areas, and then a slightly newer feature is their Fantasy League page, where fans can sign up to a My European Tour account and then compete in weekly fantasy team competitions against the world to win end-of-season prizes. The final area to look at during this overview is how the European Tour is perceived in the media. From a general news platform point of view, it does not feature a huge amount. It would normally have some form of piece once a month from one of the major news reporters, but it is more likely to simply get a brief mention when one of its players succeeds either on one of its own competitions or another side of the world. It features much more regularly across golf's own version of local news, which is a huge variety of dedicated golf news blogs and news sites, where it can occasionally come in for a fair amount of criticism, but in recent years has also had a solid amount of praise for its innovative new tournament ideas. I will now take a closer and more critical look at 2 of the European Tour's most active social media platforms, and these are Instagram and Facebook. The reason why I'm choosing these 2 platforms to study is mainly due to the meteoric rise in the importance of social media for sports brands over the past 10 years. This rise in social media importance is highlighted by Sanders in 2011, who believes that social media has almost drawn level with TV broadcasting, giving sports media consumers a digital plenitude, and therefore allowing sports organisations to take full advantage by sharing their time, money and resources across both platforms to appeal and attract more consumers. We will first look at Instagram, which has become a hugely important platform over the past 5 years, and is one the European Tour must take very seriously, with Elliott 2015 stating that Instagram's followers engagement rate is 10 times greater than Facebook and almost 100 times more than Twitter. The other key reason for the European Tour clearly investing a lot of time, money and resources into Instagram is to enable them to hit a new demographic that the world of golf is desperate to reach, which is younger consumers. As you can see from these various news articles, the world of golf is in a transition period where they are very much in need of younger fans, and Instagram allows the likes of the European Tour to improve their chances of reaching this demographic, as Clark 2019 shows that 72% of teenagers use it every day, and 59% of its entire users are under the age of 30. Sports organisations use Instagram for a variety of different reasons, but 2 key objectives the European Tour look to target with their account is 1, to increase their brand awareness and attract new users, which is an idea first discovered by Hutchinson and Rowe 2012, and 2, to strengthen their relationship with consumers outside their home markets, which is a theory first discovered by Stavros et al. In 2014. In regards to increasing their brand awareness, they achieve this by using their Instagram posts to boost the profile of their homegrown players through behind-the-scenes content and increasing the number of posts about these players when they succeed around the world, as this allows them to reach out to an even greater amount of followers through exchanging tags and posts with these players' personal accounts. They strengthen their bond with their away markets through increasing their interaction and content with the high-profile American players who occasionally play on the tour, with the idea of reaching out to American markets and strengthening their relationship with these golf consumers further afield, as well as general sports fans by producing fun collaboration videos such as this one, with the idea of targeting new segments of sport consumers. One important factor that social media strategies must look to adhere to is their consumers' gratifications, and this was first introduced by Kim and Hull in a sporting context in 2017, whose uses and gratifications theory present key consumer expectations shown here that sports organisations must offer in order to attract and retain their consumers. European Tour target three of these very well, which are being there with a variety of interviews, highlight clips and behind-the-scenes content they provide, fun, which they achieve through various comedic sketches and player competition videos, and information gathering, which they target through their factual content of leaderboard screenshots and player stats. During the recommendations area, we'll look at ways in which the European Tour can target the other consumer expectations. A study by Anastopoulos in 2018 suggested a variety of interesting ideas, but one that the European Tour fully adheres to is the use of star players and success highlights, which, as Anastopoulos reveals, are the most popular content inclusions. They do a very good job of highlighting the success of their competitors, and these posts get some of the best traction across the page, as well as using a large amount of content centred on the star players of the week, who could be considered as fan favourites based on their personality or contribution to long-lasting seminal moments. Alongside Instagram, the European Tour also use their Facebook account to great effect. As mentioned previously, the European Tour has 397,000 people liking their page. This is very significant, as Suetal 2015 states that the number of likes on a page reflects the bond between consumers and organisations. This is then supported further by Wallace et al. 2014, who also believes that liking is a form of brand engagement, and consumers like brands which they feel they can connect with. With this in mind, this graph displays a comparison between the European Tour and its fellow competitive tours, giving us an understanding that they have a better brand engagement with a greater pool of consumers than all but one of their competitors. When analysing their content on Facebook, it is a good idea to study it using Kaplan and Heinlein's 2010 organisation social media checklist, as shown in the slide here. The European Tour do a good job at targeting a variety of these points, in a similar way to their Instagram, with their informative posts covering point 1, humour and variety of media for point 3, and they hit almost all of the strategic priorities for the fourth checklist point, which again relates back to their variety of content. But one area that some may suggest they lack is the competitions that aid an emotional response. This issue will be addressed in the recommendation area. Petty 2013 suggests that a good social media strategy must now look to encourage cognitive responses from their consumers, and this can be achieved through producing content that makes people comment with messages relating to their predisposed love or desire for the sport or particular athletes. The European Tour does achieve this through the use of various posts every Sunday in honour of that week's winner. By doing this, they are encouraging fans to comment with celebratory messages and views on that golfer's win, which may then spark comments, conversations, which are all great examples of consumers interacting with the European Tour brand. Although they do currently adhere to the social media consumer uses and gratifications theory, they do not fully address all areas of it. It is sometimes difficult to address every element, but one way in which they can look to improve their coolness is take advantage of their celebrity fans and produce more social media content with them. Every year they have a variety of pro-am events where a whole host of famous faces take part, so it's clear they do have the resources but are currently not using them to their full potential. Everyday consumers look up to celebrities and engage with their content for a variety of different reasons, but it is very clear that celebrities do drive engagement, and Marwick 2013 supports this when she mentions that brands have begun to realise over the past 5 years that celebrities are becoming one of the most effective ways to drive brand engagement amongst consumers. Some great examples of sports brands who currently do this are the European Tour's #1 competitor, the PGA Tour, who often use their celebrity fans to create engaging content for Instagram. And the second is the New York Rangers, whose main strategy revolves around their celebrity fans, and judging by their engagement figures, it's clearly working. The final recommendation is based on their Facebook content and refers to the lack of consumer competitions, which was a key area they were missing from Heinen's 2010 social media checklist. They have a great amount of resources through sponsors as well as their own internal resources, so a weekly competition based around their events could be a great way of engaging with fans whilst also subtly advertising their events of the week. Tottenham Hotspur and the Premier League do this well, and as you can see from these examples, they use their sponsors for the competitions, which is another great way of getting the fans to interact with their brand and partners.